Hey, Greg.
Hey Graham, how are you?
I feel fine. Thank you. How are you doing today?
Yeah, not too bad. How's the tour going over there?
Phenomenally well.
Yeah,
This is my third tour this year, and I go back to America and do another one.
fantastic. Can you recall what the spark was that lit your flame for music in the first place?
Yeah, I can. Lonnie Donegan
Okay.
brought skiffle to England. He was an Irish folk singer who had gone to America and hung out with people like Leadbelly and stuff. And he brought this very simple kind of music back to England. And of course, young kids didn't have much to do, except kick a ball around, maybe, So skiffle turned and lit my flame. And then, of course, the American Top 40 on a Sunday night from Radio Luxembourg. It was great.
Yeah. Has the way you write music changed at all over the years?
No, it hasn't. I still have to feel something first. Once I feel something about what I'm about to say, then I research all my words and make sure they're all correct, and write a new song. So no, my writing hasn't really changed a great deal.
Yeah. How do you know when a song is finished and to leave it alone?
I know by now, having done it for over 60 years, I know when it's finished.
Yeah. What about technology? Has that had much of an impact in the way you write?
In a way, yes, particularly because of COVID and the lockdown. Um, I did a lot of my new record remotely. I mean, the stuff I did with Alan Clark was a 4,000 mile journey, technically. Um, and the thing that you have to do with remote recording is make sure that it feels like all those people are in the same room at the same time.
Yeah. The new album is called Now. It features a song called Buddy's Back, an ode to Buddy Holly, and it also appears
It,
on Alan's album as well. It's a nice piece of serendipity that it appears on both albums, and it's about the guy that inspired you both.
Indeed. Buddy Holly was a great influence on us. Of course, we were the Hollies. Yeah, we loved Buddy, and I did write that song for Alan's album. And on his album, he sings the lead, and I join him in the choruses. And on my record, I sing the lead, and he joins me in the choruses.
Do you recall, were there other band names that the Hollies were considering?
Um, yeah, at one point we wanted to call ourselves the Deadbeats because our drummer, his father was owned a mortuary, and so he had the mortuary's van that we used. Yes, the Deadbeats. Yeah, right. So long ago, 70 years.
Doesn't have the same ring as the Hollies, does it?
No, it doesn't, or does it?
Yeah. Bit of a long-winded question, but bear with me. You are a huge part of contemporary music history yourself, but you also seem to have a great appreciation of music history in general. You appreciate the significance of historic venues like Carnegie Hall or Royal Albert Hall. They mean something to you. You recorded at Big Pink, I guess, because of the history there and your love of the band. Um, I,
Yes.
I assume you're into music books and documentaries. It seems you'd never stop being a music fan as well as a musician. Is that a
I'm,
fair
no,
statement?
that's very true. I'm really a fan of music. I think it's the ultimate form of communication. Uh, I've been a fan of music and a fan of what we've been doing all my life. I'm a very curious man. I want to know why this song affects me like this. Why does that song affect me like this? I'm a great fan of music, absolutely.
Yeah. Did you see the Peter Jackson Beatles documentary, Get Back?
I did indeed.
What do you think?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved seeing John and Paul standing in each other's face, shouting words at each other. It was wonderful to see that process.
Yeah. Let's talk about another track off the album now. A Better Life begins with a mandolin. Is that you playing mandolin? Are you into a range of fretted instruments as well as guitar?
No, that's my friend Tad DeBrock. He's a great guitar player, and we needed an opening for it, and he produced a beautiful opening for it. No, that's not me. That's Tad.
Yeah. You would have owned many guitars over your career. Do you have an emotional attachment to your guitars, or do you view them more as tools to create music?
I've only really I can't find my original black Epiphone guitar that I wrote Teacher Children on and Marrakesh Express and stuff like that. I'm only emotionally attached to a couple of my guitars. The rest of them are just tools.
Yeah. I was watching YouTube today, a clip of you playing Buddy Holly's guitar, and
Yes,
I loved
yes,
your
yes.
reaction to you playing that. And you mentioned that you also have Johnny Cash's first guitar, and I guess that goes back to being that music fan deep down.
Yep, yeah, and I had Don Everly's 1962 guitar, and I have, yeah, I do collect interesting things. Yes,
Yeah, and you actually met the Everly brothers too, didn't you?
very much so. Yes.
Yeah. I wanted to talk a little bit about David Crosby. David could be a cantankerous guy. What are your happy memories of David Crosby?
He was a brilliant man. He was had a great brain. He was incredibly funny. He had an unbelievable stock of one-liners that he would lay out on people. But I do choose to only remember the good stuff that happened between us. I only choose to remember the music that we made and the good times, because the rest of it is just worthless.
Yeah. The music of Crosby, Stills Nash and Crosby, Stills Nash and Young were a huge part of my own musical upbringing. What were the high points for you of the band? Any particular concerts that are etched in your memory?
It's usually music. It's usually like the first time I heard Stephen play "Sweet Judy Blue Eyes," or when Crosby called me and said, "Book the studio. Neil's written this song called Ohio, and we need to record it immediately." So it's usually music that is the signpost of my life.
Yeah, I actually had the honor to sit down with Judy Collins and chat with her in April this year, and I asked her about the first time that Stephen played "Sweet Judy Blue Eyes" to her, and she said it was a fantastic song, but it didn't mean they'd get back together again.
Yeah, yeah, yes. She's a very strong woman. I just sang with Judy on her new record. She just did a song of Crosby's called Radio,
Okay.
and she loved the song and wanted to know if I wanted to sing on it. And of course, I was delighted.
Yeah. I know you are on speaking terms with Stills and Young at the moment, particularly after the death of David. Isn't it often the way that loss brings about reconciliation? It's a shame we couldn't bottle that reconciliation potion.
Yes, indeed. It was very sad. It was a terrible shock. I mean, the truth is, even Crosby would laugh at this. I mean, we expected him to die decades ago.
Yeah.
So did he. But he made it to 81, and he died in his bed at home.
Yeah. I know you're planning a memorial at some stage. Are you very busy at the moment?
Yes.
Are there any sort of elements that you know that David would like to have involved?
Once again, it would come down to the music. I'm sure that any memorial that Jan D, his wife, is planning for David next year will include great songwriters. Absolutely. And we know a lot of great songwriters, and that's how David will be memorialized.
Yeah. Of course, you guys were known for your vocal harmonies. In the studio, did you do many vocal takes?
In our life.
In the studio with Crosby, Stills and Nash.
No, we were pretty good. We knew what we were doing. Normally we would just sing around one microphone, and I would have to sing about a foot away because my high parts tend to cut through more than the low parts. Yeah, we just we did things in one take, and at one point Stephen wanted to re-record the suite, and it took us it took us 11 hours to redo the suite, and then Stephen said, "Nah, we got it the first time."
Mm. Just going back to your solo album now, there are a couple of political songs on the album. You're an English guy that's been living in America for a long time, and I'm in Australia and observe what's happening politically from afar and think, what the hell's going on? Has it got?
Yeah,
Has it
we're
got?
all thinking, we're all trying to figure out what's going on. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Has it got to the point where you've considered living elsewhere? Has it got too much at all?
I would only consider it mildly if Trump became president again, because his administration would only be one of revenge against people that he thought were against him. And I would seriously entertain the idea of moving back to Europe. Yes.
Yeah. The track order of an album, is that still important to you?
Yes, of course, because it's a journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the fact that, you know, Sergeant Pepper's and Pet Sounds were journeys. It was Brian Wilson and John Lennon that decided that, an album didn't need to be a collection of A-sides and B-sides just to make money for the company, that an album could be an actual musical journey, and I've always loved that.
Yeah. Um, Tell me about the band you're bringing to Australia. Where did you meet these guys?
Um, Todd Caldwell, who co-produced Now with me, is on keyboards and vocals, and Shane Fontaine is on guitar and vocals.
Okay. In regard to the Australian tour, I know you'll be playing some Hollies stuff, Crosby Stills Nash material, or solo stuff. Is putting a set list together for a tour a difficult thing for you? The more music you release?
No, it gets easier as the time goes on. I understand which songs the audience want to hear. I want to play them and sing them with the same passion I had when I wrote them, because I believe my audience deserve that. But it gets easier because I've written over 250 songs also. you know, yeah, we have a dance to do every night to put together a set.
Yeah. Does it change much from gig to gig?
Sometimes, yes, it does.
Yeah. You've seen so many changes in the music industry. I just want to get your thoughts on the emergence of artificial intelligence in music.
We have to be very careful. I believe it's a technology that can aid humanity. At the same time, it's a dangerous technology that could end up really hurting.
Yeah.
And I don't use it. I have no need for AI to help me write songs. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have any bucket list projects, things in the back of your mind that maybe they're not urgent, but you'd like to get to one day?
I want to sing Yesterday with Paul McCartney with just his acoustic guitar and two voices.
Yeah. When was the last time you came across Paul?
About 4 months ago, there was a show of his entire music at the Carnegie Hall in London, excuse me, in New York City. And, he wrote me a nice note I did for no one. And he wrote me a nice little note about how much he enjoyed it.
Um, what are you most proud of musically in your career, and how would you like to be remembered?
I'd like to be remembered as someone who tried his best. I tried the best to be the best musician, the best husband, the best father, the best friend, and I'll never make it, but at least I'm trying.
Yeah. Well, Graham, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you, and we look forward to seeing you down here very soon.
You got it, kid. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Graham.
Bye-bye, Greg.